The legal battle behind Archie and Lili's legitimacy and what you need to know. Greetings and a gracious welcome to the World of Royal Staffs channel. In a shocking turn of events, it appears that the British royal family may have been misled about the birth of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's son, Archie. Rumours have been circulating for some time now that the child was not born naturally, but rather through a surrogate mother. While this may seem like a private matter for the couple, it actually puts the palace in a difficult position. According to recent reports, the palace may have discovered the truth about the surrogacy long after Archie's pregnancy was announced, either near the end of the pregnancy or shortly after the alleged birth. This left them in a bind, as they couldn't simply make public Markle's confidential medical information without infringing on her legal rights. Lady C, a well-known socialite and friend of the royals, recently spoke out on this issue in a video. She pointed out that the palace is required to take a lot of information at face value, including the veracity of birth certificates. Government agencies and registrars can only accept the information provided by the father on these documents as the truth, and the palace must do the same. Even if they suspect that something is off, they cannot contest the truthfulness of the information provided without opening a legal can of worms. This means that even if they have intel suggesting that Archie was born via surrogacy, they can't take any action to remove his titles or remove him from the line of succession without solid legal backing. The implications of such a move would be enormous. It could imply that the palace rummaged through Markle's medical records, which would be a serious violation of privacy laws. Without a legal foundation for their actions, they would also face accusations of discrimination against Archie and his younger sister, Lilibet. In short, the palace has been placed in an impossible situation. They must take Markle's medical information as sincere, even if they suspect it may not be entirely accurate. They cannot take any action without a solid legal foundation, which they currently lack. It seems that the couple may have accessed private medical information without the patient's consent to make changes in their length of stay. If true, this is not only a clear violation of ethical standards but also illegal. The question now is, how did the couple obtain this confidential information, and who leaked it to them? It's a breach of security that could have far-reaching consequences. A third party would need to investigate the incident, uncovering where security protocols failed, and who accessed the information illegally. We all know that Meghan Markle has a reputation for being litigious and loves to paint herself as a victim. In this case, she would have every right to cry foul. However, it would be an impossible situation for the British palace to handle. If they initiated any action in relation to the children's legitimacies, it would open up a Pandora's box of legal and ethical issues. Lady C, in her recent video, suggested that an independent third party, perhaps a prominent journalist, needs to raise the issue before the palace can act. The palace must play within legal bounds and wait for the issue to be presented to them in a much bigger, legally sound, way before an investigation can be justified. Until now, there have only been murmurs in obscure articles. But if the issue is raised to a point where a proper investigation is warranted, the palace will most likely be granted the legal authority to access Meghan Markle's medical records. The royal family cannot take action themselves but must respond to an inquiry to satisfy their ethical, legal, and moral obligations. That is the only way they can come out on top. The royal family and their advisors are far more intelligent and clever than most of us, but this situation is tricky. It requires a stringent and calculated approach, which takes time and needs to go through all the proper channels. Only then can the legitimacy issues be addressed, and justice can be served. I'm not sure how all of this can all be accomplished in a kosher way, but the RF and their advisors are far more intelligent and clever than I am. I do believe that there are things going on behind the scenes to address the legitimacy issues, but we must remember how tricky the whole situation is. It all needs to be orchestrated in a very stringent and calculated way, which takes time, and it needs to go through all of the proper channels. Now, I know it might seem absurd and far-fetched to some of you that such an esteemed institution could be involved in a cover-up of this magnitude. But the truth is, many of us have noticed inconsistencies in the circumstances surrounding Meghan's pregnancy and Archie's birth that cannot be ignored. And if we, the general public, have picked up on these shady details, then surely the palace has too. I personally believe that the royal family knows full well that Meghan did not give birth to Archie, and yet their hands are tied in terms of taking action. For now, at least. But here's the thing, if an inquiry were to be raised, I am inclined to believe it would be less about the succession laws and legitimacy within the monarchy and more about the criminal activities on Meghan's part. Let me explain. Meghan deceived not only the public but also the institution by faking her pregnancy. She did so at the expense of taxpayers' money, using it to pay for her maternity wardrobe, travel, additional security and more. And to add insult to injury, she received accolades and recognition from organizations, and even accepted gifts from private individuals throughout her pregnancy, most notably during her lavish baby shower. If this is indeed being pursued behind the scenes, I think it's safe to say that the primary motivation would be to address criminal offenses such as fraud, bribery, and corruption. The palace and the RF have been dealing with the shady circumstances of Archie's birth and the question surrounding the kids' births. Not to mention, the documented press leaks and the palace bullying report. As much as we'd like to believe that the palace and the RF have all the ammunition they need to take action, the truth is, we'll likely never see it. They're holding on to their information for the counter-negotiations for the divorce. They need to offset her Frogmore diaries, plus all the dirty laundry Harry spilled to her, including the cover-ups they did for him. There is a cold war brewing between the palace and the couple. The more Harry talks, the less credible he gets. And I think both the family and the wife are banking on the fact that any bucket of secrets he spills won't be taken seriously anymore. However, I don't believe there's any dirt, aside from what's been covered up about Harry. The news of the world already hacked their phones and determined that Catherine and William's conversations were too boring to be useful. Charles and Camilla survived the affair and the Tampax stuff. Charles has a temper, but that's already been addressed in biographies. Perhaps there's more dirt on Andrew, but everyone already hates him, so there's no value there. The BRF doesn't want to call more attention to this dumpster fire called Harry and Meghan. There is zero chance these children will get anywhere near the throne, so they want to avoid an ugly scene like this. They know what's going on, but they keep the contents private, just like the bullying report. As much as we'd like to see this kind of salacious exposure for Mackerel and her handbag, I think it would harm the RF more. So let's sit back and watch this drama unfold while the palace keeps their cards close to their chest. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video entertaining, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more royal staffs in the future. Thank you for your support, and I look forward to seeing you all at the next one.